Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Roundtable. This is a show about. It's really a conversation show with some small debate points, but mainly focus on the conversation to where at the end of the day, things don't really matter, but we would just want to show people how to have great conversations with things that don't matter at the end of the day. So today I got really good friends of mine. The first. He was my first dungeon master. He showed me how to play D&D. Had fun with this guy. Y'all guys welcome Liam.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Yeah. And then his opponent across the round table. You know him. He was my second ever DM and still DM for 2 games. One game that it's probably not out right now, but you'll see.
Let's not talk about that one just yet.
You know him, you love him. Y'all welcome Nathan.
Hello, Jared. Thank you for having me.
So this one will be a little bit different. Both opponents did not want to know each other's answers. And both guys, they want to, I wouldn't say rush the first 4 questions, but they will not be as long as they normally are. But they want to really go at it at the last question. So I'm unprepared. I was going to get my die. So how we normally start it is who wants odds and who wants evens?
I'm an odd fellow. I want odds.
Odd.
That is true.
Okay.
I'm even keeled, so I'll take even.
Okay, I'll take even.
Well, I'm even keeled until this last question.
It is even.
A nightmare.
So, Nathan, how this will work is you get to pick. So, will you go first with your opening statement, and then last with your opening statement, and then we crisscross.
Okay. Cross-examination, as I say. I was in debate. I know what I'm doing. Right. I was homeschooled.
I was not. So this is going to be weird.
It's more about the conversation. So which one would you want?
Oh, me? I have a hot take on the first question.
So do you want your opening statement first?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Hot take. Who would you like to read the question, Jared?
Yeah. So I was just writing things down to make sure I memorize who is going first. And then, of course, Liam, you'll have the first opening statement at the next question. We'll flip-flop. So the first question is, who is the most overrated character? So you can start.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, I've been presented with the question of who is the most overrated fictional character, and I would like to propose Bruce Wayne, the Bat himself, Batman, as the most overrated character in fiction. Not to say I do not like Batman. I think Batman is very cool. However, he has risen to a level that I think is far beyond what is reasonable to expect out of a character like Batman. I've seen people talk about, Batman could defeat freaking, let me start over. I've seen people talk about, essentially, Batman could defeat, I shouldn't say that. I don't know. Point is, Batman is far more overrated than, wow, I am all scatterbrained right now. Let me restart my statement. Batman is overrated.
Okay,
that's my statement.
We'll just do that. That's about a minute anyways.
That whole thing.
Okay, so Liam, it's your turn.
All right, then. So, while Batman is definitely a controversial take, I know many people who have watched the Clone Wars have a character that's very near and dear to their heart.
Oh, no.
My take here is that Duchess Satine Kryze is the most overrated character in all of media. She is not only a ideologist with nothing, an idealist, sorry, with nothing to back it up, but she is haughty, arrogant, and most of all, annoying the entire time she is on screen. There is nothing redeeming about this character in my eyes, and I believe she is the most overrated character in all of media, and especially in Star Wars.
Oh my goodness, that is coming out of the gate swinging, my guy.
It
I came out here with
really
a light
is.
hot take. Ooh,
Okay.
I wish I thought of someone better than Batman. I thought Batman was gonna be a hot take. All right,
Well, I feel like
swinging
I'm
at the
going to
knees.
change something up a little bit. I'm going to have the start. So anytime I play something from my soundboard, it's just go and stop. So
Okay,
I would
Sounds
rather.
good.
I feel like this is more appropriate for go.
Hello there.
I had mine turned down all the way. I just heard like what sounded like a rapper crinkle.
It was the Obi-Wan. Hello there.
Hello there. That's ironic. As we're debating Duchess Satine Kryze.
It really is.
Oof.
So, I got a question for you.
Yes, please.
Why do you think Batman is overrated? You said specifically Bruce Wayne. Do you believe Bruce Wayne and Batman to be two separate characters in this instance? Or do you think that they're both overrated?
Not particularly. I think Bruce Wayne as a character is actually far underutilized, at least in the film media.
Too, yes.
I think if we got to see more Bruce Wayne in the 2022 The Batman film, I found the character, like the dichotomy of Bruce Wayne and Batman, to be very interesting. I wish we got to see more of Bruce Wayne being Bruce Wayne. Looks like we'll be getting that in the sequel, if that ever comes. But I'm saying that Batman as a character, like as the overall Batman mythos, is in many ways overrated. And I think it's not a matter of like, oh, the quality isn't there. It's that the people who are Batman fans will say Batman can beat basically any other character in fiction with air quotes prep time. I think that's just Batman should have frailties as a character if he is completely all powerful, even though he's just a guy with training and money. I think that's quite it's weakening the character by putting too much hype behind him.
May I make a counterpoint to that?
Absolutely.
I believe that the argument of Batman can defeat anybody with prep time is somewhat true. If we look at the animated Justice League shows, there was a time where Batman, even without prep time, beat Doomsday. And that's a feat in and of itself. I think if you are to say that he can beat everybody with prep time, you kind of have to back it up with evidence, and that may only be the only time really where you could say that for sure he could beat anybody. But even then, there's a lot of instances of him being able to defeat the Justice League, being able to defeat all of his villains and all of Superman's villains and everybody basically. I don't think it's implausible that he could beat everybody.
Which will lead into my second point. I think he's even overrated by the creators of Batman, by DC comic writers themselves. I think Batman is a far more interesting character if he has weaknesses and frailties. I think the fact that he's risen to this point where he's the DC golden boy because he makes the most money. He's one of the two highest grossing superheroes in history next to Spider-Man and Superman. He has risen to a point in the mythos and sort of the created consciousness of the Batman Batverse, essentially, where he's no longer that interesting of a character if he can't really. It's sort of like watching a movie with Dwayne Johnson. It's like he's contractually not allowed to lose a fight.
You always know how it's going to end, right?
Exactly. You see him enter into a fight and start throwing hands. If I were to say who's the most overrated actor, I would say Dwayne Johnson. But if you see a situation with Batman, you're like, oh, he's going to win this because he has money and he's a super genius and he has all these cool gadgets. It's like, yes, There are some instances of Batman which I think are far stronger for it because they're allowed to let Batman lose a fight or get beat up. Like, once again, I'm going to go back to the 2022 The Batman movie, which I love. It's my favorite piece of Batman media next to Lego Batman.
Very good.
It's so good. And the Lego Batman movie is also really good for completely different reasons. But I think that one is really strong because Batman isn't invincible. Yes, he gets shot in the chest with a shotgun, but like it hurts him. It like cracks his ribs, and he's like visibly injured for the rest of the fight. And he's not able to be everywhere all at once. He's not immortal. He's not omnipresent. He's not omniscient. He's a human, and I think that makes the character more interesting. When the fans, like when the Batman super fans, whether that be within the comic writers or the film or the screenwriters, or just like the fan culture, kind of push him to this level that he really shouldn't be at, of this like omniscient super being, yet supposedly being immortal, he's less interesting. So I would say, specifically, the Batman who can beat anybody with prep time is an overrated character. The Batman who is an excellent detective, who's an excellent fighter, and is a really good who's really good at what he does, but is still mortal, is a far superior character.
I don't think I disagree with you on that point, because I honestly find that most of the times that I'm watching Batman content, I'm more interested in the side characters than I am in Batman. Take Nightwing, for example. There's a couple of instances where Nightwing actually dies. And Nightwing is the most interesting character. Jason Todd is the most interesting character. They're all in some way more interesting than Batman is because Batman's indestructible, right? Mm-hmm. So I don't think I disagree with that point at all. I think in his own universe, he's probably the most overrated when he is invincible.
Yes. I think we've come to a good agreement here.
Indeed. I still think Satine is way more.
Yeah, that one is the one I have more issues with, which is a shame because I can't disagree with you on it, because you are right. She is meant to be a foil to like in some ways, I think she has a point.
Yeah.
I like her as a character. I really like her as a character, mostly for Obi-Wan, to have that sort of foil to his Jedi ideals.
That's the
but
thing.
Also, yeah.
She is a foil, and she's great to Obi-Wan, but that's where it stops. Mm-hmm. You know, the character herself is not exactly the most fleshed out person. She's not necessarily the most intelligent person. When you really think about what she's trying to accomplish, she really hasn't thought out any of what she actually wants, it seems. But when it comes to Obi-Wan, she has everything to say. She has all of these things to say about how he operates on a daily basis, about who he's working for, about his past choices. It's not something you should be doing when you haven't even thought out the logical steps to your own plan, right?
Yeah.
She has
a
problem.
Huge uphill battle when it comes to,
she does.
Trying to pacify the Mandalorian culture.
And, to some people, they would honestly say that's an impossible task. I'm one of them. I don't think that you could possibly turn Mandalore peaceful. I think it was a futile task.
She succeeded for a while. I mean, Sundari was very peaceful for a while, and then,
But you'll always have those people that don't want to go along with it. And when it comes to people who are peaceful against people who are violent, I'm sorry to say, the violence is always going to win. If you won't defend yourself, you will lose.
Yeah. Which I think is also kind of the whole... It's kind of one of the main thrusts of the Clone Wars series in a lot of ways, is that idea of war is not good, but having a way to defend yourself is a good thing. And I think that's also sort of like what the Jedi are there for, is they are peacekeepers. They don't want to get in fights, but they end a fight. Yeah, it's like... I really like Satine as a character, though. But I can't disagree with you that she does play that role in a way that does make her seem
It's
incompetent.
arrogant sometimes.
She can definitely come up with an air of arrogance.
Yes, and to her point, she needs to be arrogant in some ways. She is the leader of Mandalore, a nation of once trained super soldiers, essentially.
And apparently still filled with trained super soldiers, just in other planets.
Filled to the brim with them, just in disguise at this point. But you have to be arrogant in that situation. I don't think she's a bad person. I just think she's a bad leader. And I don't think she is the best thing for Mandalore.
No, I don't think she was. I don't think the alternative was good either.
No, the alternative was way worse. I'd take Satine over the alternative any day. But still, she needs to change up her ideology a little bit to maybe allow more defense of Mandalore than she actually allowed in the end.
I think if I were to put a counterpoint, a person within the Clone Wars who is far more overrated, and I think given the light of more recent Star Wars media, far more overrated, is her sister, Bo-Katan Kryze.
I don't know if I would agree with that one. Bo-Katan...
I think Bo-Katan cool.
Definitely shares some of that overrated, though. I do agree with that, but not on
overrated
the same
level. Overrated for different reasons.
Yeah.
I think Bo-Katan has a very interesting story throughout the Clone Wars and Rebels. Once we get to The Mandalorian, I think her story becomes far weaker. I think
agree.
Her losing the Darksaber and not having it, I don't think she should have been allowed to have it again. I think she's already proven she's a weak leader, and that it needs new leadership outside of the Kryze family, outside of Death Watch. I think Mandalorian Season 3 would have been better if the titular Mandalorian, Din Djarin, stepped up into that position. I think it would have been a very interesting idea.
I do agree, yes. I don't think Bo-Katan is nearly as overrated, but I do agree in the point that she should not be the leader of Mandalore. Din Djarin should be. So, to end the conversation, I believe that Duchess Satine is probably the most overrated character in Star Wars. There's a bit of contention there, but at the end of the day, I don't think I can name another character who I hated more than Satine and who got less accomplished in the amount of time that they were on screen.
Okay, and I guess Nathan?
I would see her more as a tragic idealist who is a victim of her own... A victim of, I guess, thinking better of her people than was possible. I wouldn't say I hated her. I definitely saw that I quite like Satine as a character. I would disagree that she's the most overrated. I think you could find a lot more characters that would be more overrated. A couple also wearing Mandalorian helmets, but that's a question for another day. But I would have to agree with you in many other points other than just how we feel about the character specifically.
True.
Okay. So, the next one, and Liam, you'll get this one first. What movie, show, video game should get a reboot?
That's not my thing this time.
Yeah, you go first.
You're
Liam.
starting.
Oh, okay. All right. So, this is kind of a controversial one just because of more recent news about this franchise. But I believe that the Divinity franchise, the Beyond Divinity, Original Sin 1 and 2, and all of the other ones they made beforehand, should get a reboot. Personally, I would love to see the original game and Beyond Divinity get a reboot just because of how unique those games were, but how outdated they are. I'd love to see them brought into a more modernized setting.
Yeah, with a bit more the Baldur's Gate 3 flair.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, is that
Now you've just brought back the trailer for the next one in my mind, and now I'm scarred again.
Right? It was so
Horrifying.
cool.
I would encourage you, audience, don't look up that trailer unless you have a very strong stomach.
Yeah, it's a bit something.
It's definitely rated M for sure, and yeah,
okay, Nathan?
I can't really disagree with you on that because I didn't play a ton of Divinity. I have exactly 4 hours in Divinity Original Sin 2.
We gotta play that.
I have a lot more in Baldur's Gate because I do like Larian's games. They're very good at what they do. I would say, kind of sticking to the Star Wars theme, Star Wars Republic Commando was such a good game, had such a strong story and such strong characters. I thought it built onto the universe of the Clone Wars era before the Clone Wars series so well. It deserved better than it got when it came to sequels, when it came to remasters. Such a good game. One of the best, like that whole era of like the early 2000s Star Wars games, incredible. Like Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2, Republic Commando, Force Unleashed, all these games, masterpieces in their own right. They need to pick up the mantle. Disney, Star Wars, anybody who's making Star Wars games these days needs to get back in. They need to get back in the office and needs to give us either Republic Commando reboot or a Republic Commando sequel. That game was fantastic.
It really was. I can't think of a better Star Wars game, maybe other than KOTOR, you know.
And like you can tell, like watching some of the more recent Star Wars things, they still love Republic Commando. Like,
okay, really quick, I'll stop you there so y'all can actually do this.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry.
3, 2, 1, go!
You know, I don't
Like,
think this is going to be a debate so much as it is
this
just
is-
us agreeing with each other. Because
Exactly. The debate
I am
will
so
come
down
later,
for that.
but-
Yeah, the
Oh,
debate
so
can come
cool.
later. This part, I totally agree with you on. Republic Commando is awesome. Everything about that game is so good. The way that you command your team, the levels that you run them through, all of the thematic choices that they made with that game add so much to the depth and flavor of the Star Wars universe that just you can't find anywhere else. It
In
is
the gritty-
so good.
In the gritty military fiction, I love gritty military sci-fi fiction. I love the Halo books. I love the Halo lore. Honestly, Republic Commando is just Rainbow Six Halo Star Wars. It's so good.
It is
It's
so good. I was so sad when they announced, and not sad, but when they announced the fall of the Old Republic, I was kind of hoping that it would be a remake of Republic Commando or a new Republic Commando game, because Old Republic is great and all, but I feel like it probably has had its time. You know, we've got 2 KOTOR games and we've got the MMO. There's a lot of Old Republic content out there, and they really haven't shown it a lot of love. But they have shown a lot of love to the Clone Wars era, so I really wanted Republic Commando back.
Yeah, and Delta Squad's canon. Delta Squad is canon. They appear in the Clone Wars. Scorch appears very heavily in the Bad Batch. He deserved better in that show for sure.
I haven't watched it yet. I know
it's
Bad
good.
fan.
So
It's
Liam,
good.
why
It's a
should
good show.
yours
I'd
be
recommend
made over this game?
Oh, over it?
Oh, over it? Okay, well, now we got a
no.
debate.
Okay, now it's less a debate. It's fighting for our lives.
You know, I'm going to argue this point, but I want everybody to know right now. I don't agree with what I'm about to say, because I liked Nathan's answer more. Divinity, I think, should get a remake because of how much depth of lore it has to its entire world. There was a point where I think in Original Sin, everybody kind of got confused about how the lore was progressing because they did somewhat of a soft reset of the world by introducing Source. But I've always enjoyed the actual lore of Divinity, and everything beyond everything before the point of Source has a lot of interesting depth to it that you just don't see after that point. I would love to see them explore their roots and explore the whole series, the main character of the original game too, because he is so important to all of the lore leading up to probably their new game, honestly. I mean, we've seen symbolism of that character in the main franchise, and I don't want to spoil it in case, that's a really heavy point in the new game and people want to go look it up. But yeah, the previous games really set up to Original Sin 2 and most likely this new game that we're about to get. So I would love to see more people invest themselves in this world and in this franchise. And I think a remake is the best way to do it.
I can't fully disagree with you on that because I haven't really played the other two games all that deeply. I do think like the lore that I have seen in it was very interesting. I think it's a cool world, and I think definitely Larian put a lot of love into this, and will continue to put a lot of love into it with the with Divinity 3. However, I think when it comes down to bare brass tacks, I hate to be this cynical about it, but let's just be honest. What will Republic Commando take up? What will Republic Commando make a lot more of than Divinity? That would be money.
Yeah, it's money.
It would be so much more money. Like, but also, like, Divinity. I wish the debate wasn't which one has to be made over the other, because that makes me sad. Because both of them sound cool. Republic Commando, though, it has such a special place in my heart. I, like, whenever I would go through the game and I'd unlock a new behind-the-scenes thing, I'd watch that crap religiously. It birthed in me a deep desire to be a Foley artist, because watching them actually make the sounds of that game was so interesting. It was so fun. But the game itself, it's just, there's so much more you can do with it now with more established Clone Wars lore, especially with what we know of the era, what's been built onto it with the squad itself, doing either a sequel or even a reboot. I think a reboot could be fun, even though I do love the original game. Being able to step into the shoes of Republic operatives during the war, such an interesting idea. Why it should be made over Divinity, I mean, of course, it would make more money, but I think there are more people who would get to enjoy that over Divinity. Divinity has a very high barrier of entry in a lot of ways. It's difficult to get into. It's a more complicated kind of game. A kind of game I enjoy. Like, I quite enjoy Baldur's Gate, for example. All my arguments sound so shallow, even though like I do have.
I don't even think they're shallow.
Yeah.
They're very good points. I understand the high barrier to entry to the Divinity franchise, just because I've played all the games, and some people might enjoy just going and watching a lore summary over playing the actual games.
Yeah.
If you don't want to play the games, I recommend you go do that, because the lore of Divinity is actually really cool. But yeah, Republic Commando is going to make a lot more money at the end of the day.
Yeah. Also, Star Wars fans could use a win. Like,
they really could. Yeah.
Like, it's just been getting kicked. Though Maul's really good. Maul Shadow Lord is fantastic.
Also, I haven't watched that yet, but I'm kind of waiting for it to finish so I can binge it.
Yeah, that's a good idea. It's definitely good right now. It's a show made for the fans, by fans. It's so much fun. It's gritty in all the right ways. It's interesting. Has a really good. I shouldn't talk about Maul right now.
I'm talking again, but man, it's
I know. It's like, it's nice to be excited about something Star Wars again. It's been so long. Really is. I almost forgot that I like Star Wars, and I saw the Maul trailer, and I'm like, oh wait, Neuron activate. Star Wars is cool.
Star Wars is cool. Okay,
so
I think
having
that's
something that's
Okay, I'll let
win for
LGL's
Star Wars would be
closing.
cool.
I'll let LGL's closing. So it's Nathan.
Divinity, closing statement: Divinity cool.
Hang on.
Star Wars cool.
Okay, go now.
Closing statement: Divinity cool. Star Wars cool. Star Wars has more fans. Star Wars gives you to win. Divinity's already getting another game.
True. I agree with all of these things, but I still have to argue for Divinity. That's my closing statement.
Okay. Let's see. What is the next one? The
this is fun.
third one is, who is the most overpowered character?
This is going to be interesting.
This is going to be Nathan. You start.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just start talking whenever, and I'll time you.
Saitama, One Punch Man.
Oh boy, yeah.
It's really, but that's sort of the joke of the character. Like, that's the point of why he exists, is to be a satire on anime protagonists being overpowered.
It's a very good satire, though.
It's a very
funny.
good satire. It's very funny.
It's a shame what they did to the latter seasons, because it's so good.
Ugh. What, you don't like JPEG sliding down hills?
One frame man really doesn't do it for me.
One frame man.
It's really not doing it for me.
Yeah. Oh, but the first season was so good. It was so good. Ugh. I heard they're changing things for the next one, but we'll see.
Yeah, this is your opening statement, Nathan. Remember that.
This is the opening statement. I mean, there's not much more. There's really not much more to say about it. I mean, he's a character. For those uninitiated, he's a character who's literally his whole thing is he can win any fight by punching a person once.
Okay, so
he has to do it twice.
Oh, crazy!
So now it's your turn, Liam.
He's Two Punch Man.
Okay. So mine is kind of a weird choice. I think the character Am is probably the most overpowered character. And
very interesting.
For those who don't know who Am is, there's a story. It's more than just a story at this point. There was also a video game made, a short visual series called I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream. Basically, the premise is that humanity went to war with itself so many times that they developed AI supercomputers to essentially make sure that they wouldn't be attacked where they weren't expecting it. But these supercomputers found each other and formed themselves into one large AI who named himself Am, as in I am.
A little bit of a god complex.
Well, that's kind of the point. He is the god of Earth at this point. And he wipes out humanity, except for 6 people who he endlessly tortured because the only thing left that he has to live for is his hatred of humanity for making him.
Okay, so
this amazing.
I'll let you go in a little bit, but that's your opening.
Yeah. He wipes out all.
I think you killed him.
Oh, no, sorry. It's your turn, Nathan, right?
I
no,
guess
y'all just go for it. This is y'all just go for it.
I want to have a discussion. I think
here's the thing. This is going to turn into a matchup between our two characters, I think.
Could Am be defeated by Saitama? Could Saitama One Punch Man punch Am so hard he dies?
Could he? That's the thing.
Well, hold on. So in the mythos, isn't his circuitry basically infecting the entire Earth?
Yes. Basically,
so at that point, he is the planet.
It's almost like Coruscant, right? Where there is the planet itself, and then there's another platform above it. But the platform in this instance is Am. It is his entire network. Computer. Yeah, and they can do damage to it. They do in some instances. But it doesn't destroy Am. Because he is the planet, essentially. He can just repair himself where he needs to.
Would there be a place that Saitama could punch Am that would kill him?
That's a good question. It would probably be.
Would the writers want this to... If the writers want this to happen, then it would happen, because that's Saitama.
Oh, absolutely. It's Saitama. You could say, he punches Am once, and then, the whole planet explodes. But then... what are you left with? It would be really funny. The thought process here is a little bit confusing, but I think there is a world where Saitama does defeat Am.
Yes.
And honestly, Am is it's all about the mental game at that point, I think. Would Saitama have the knowledge to do so? Would he want to do so? And would Am allow him to do so, I think, is the biggest question.
Yeah.
Because Am is incredibly intelligent. He is able to keep...
so, yeah.
Yeah, he's able to keep 6 humans alive for hundreds of years and not let them kill themselves despite how much they want to, he has total control. It becomes
But then also,
a
like,
bit, yeah,
absolutely just alter somebody's biology entirely
yeah, exactly.
into
Like,
the I have no mouth, I must scream character.
like, how do you define the capabilities of Am? That's the big question. Because we know he can alter biology. We know he has complete control over the earth. But would an all-powerful man who can kill anything with one punch really be affected by that?
Maybe. I mean, he also,
Who
I don't
knows?
think he would be susceptible to like his more psychological things because kind of just everything just kind of seems to
He's
roll
got
over
the bald
Saitama.
buff, you know?
Yeah, he's just like, this
The
doesn't
worst has
seem to
already
mind.
happened to him.
He's like, yeah, pretty much. It can't get worse. It's only uphill from here.
Can't get worse. He's already bald.
Yeah, it's like I don't think Am could really beat him because all the stuff seems to be psychological other than, you know, like, oh, I'm going to kill you. But it's like nothing seems to really phase Saitama. It's just like anything happens to him, he's like, okay.
Yeah, that's the thing. We haven't seen a lot of instances where Saitama is actually phased by anything. I do think Am is on a completely different level than anything Saitama has actually faced in his series, though. So I think we'd need a better basis for what Saitama actually feels going against villains.
Yeah. Would he be motivated to kill him? Probably. I mean, he's enslaved all of humanity, so... all of humanity as in 6 people now.
I think this is honestly
7,
one of
including
the...
Saitama.
This is one of the matchups where I think you could argue for both sides. Because Saitama is, you know, the character that everybody thinks of when you think of overpowered. Because he's made to be. He's one punch man. He does everything in one punch. But, you know, we've never seen how he is, like, mentally when somebody's trying to affect his brain and his thought processes. What is he actually like?
Yeah.
I think there could be an argument for both.
You just need to wait for the next season when maybe they'll do that.
When maybe they'll do something with it.
Okay, then I'll just let y'all do y'all's closing then. And then Liam, you go first for this one.
All right. Personally, I think Am is probably the more overpowered character.
Probably.
Even in the setting of these two characters up against each other, I do think he could probably alter Saitama in some way. He isn't a supercomputer. But yeah, I mean, I think that's about the best I could come up with there.
Now, could Saitama from One Punch Man kill Am from the Amazing Digital Circus? That's an interesting question.
Okay, Nathan, it's your turn.
Yeah, I think once again we've come to a stalemate where things could go either way. We've turned out this has been a far more amicable conversation than I expected it to be. We've both come up with good. Liam, I just want to applaud you for thinking really deep outside the box because I would have never considered putting Am or Duchess Satine Kryze in this conversation. So
I've been doing a lot of reading lately.
Yeah, I've come up with 2 pretty basic answers, and you come out of the gate swinging some really good ones. So this is a good conversation. I'm very happy to have it.
Okay. So, next question. What fictional creature would be the best pet? And Liam, you get to go first.
Okay. I have an answer, and it's the irrefutable truth. There is nothing wrong about this whatsoever. I want a dragon from How to Train Your Dragon.
That would be cool.
I want one so bad. Cool. I want Toothless so bad. Can you imagine having a giant, scaly lizard friend who is also basically just a cat? It would be
really cool.
Amazing. All of the upsides of having a cat, none of the downsides, except for maybe your house lighting on fire every once in a while. But that's fine.
I have a counterpoint.
Mhm.
Okay, share yours.
Ditto.
Oh man.
Ditto could be any pet. He could be a dragon from How to Train Your Dragon. Case
Could be.
closed. Oh my god.
Okay, counterpoints to Ditto.
Does Ditto have to
Ditto-
see the creature to be able to turn into it?
I believe he does, yes.
Oh, well. Could he watch a movie? Would that count? Or does it have to be a creature he
I
actually
think he
encounters?
probably could, right? That's a good question.
I'm not super up to date on Pokemon lore.
Can Ditto become something that isn't real?
I believe
That's
he
an excellent
could.
question.
I
I'm
think
gonna
he
Google it,
probably
see if
could.
Dr. Google.
But here's the other point. Something we're now discovering even more in Pokopia is that Ditto doesn't lose his personality when he transforms. He just
True, he just
becomes this
is-
physical thing.
Which is kind of
I don't think Ditto's got the personality, honestly. He's kind of just a
Probably
blob.
not. He's Ditto.
He is Ditto. I don't personally think Ditto's all that interesting when he's,
No, probably not.
Ditto. I like dragons and I like cats, so I like both of those things wrapped into one bundle.
Yeah, Night Fury would be very cool.
A
Also,
Night Fury would be
vehicle.
so cool. Yes, exactly. I don't need to drive anywhere. I just fly my dragon everywhere. That'd be
That would be
awesome.
pretty sick. That'd
It'd
be
be
pretty
so
sick.
cool. I'd probably get shot down by the United States military, but I don't care
Possibly.
because I get
How
a
fast-
dragon.
How fast is Night Fury? Could
Is
it
it
outrun a cruise
faster than a
missile?
jet?
Probably not.
Can I outrun an F-16 jet or whatever they are? I bet you I could. Could you imagine the G-force on the back of a dragon that can fly faster than a jet made by the United States? Oh my gosh, I'd be dead.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking at. I just Googled it. There's a screenshot of what appears to be a sonic boom happening behind Toothless.
Oh,
How is Hiccup
just
alive?
taking that?
I guess
No-
so.
No
Man's built
protective
different.
gear. Hiccup
This
might
is-
be the most overpowered character. Can I change my answer?
Mending our decision. Hiccup is the most overpowered character in fiction.
Genuinely, the man takes a sonic boom with no protective gear and no training. That's insane.
He is the son of Stoic the Vast. It's in his
Stoic the
bloodline.
best. Yeah, I don't know if there is much more to that answer. Personally, I think I've made my
Mach
point.
1.3.
Mach 1.3.
He's a living creature flying Mach 1.3. Okay, in that case, I choose Valstrax from Monster Hunter.
Valstrax. Wait, hang on. I gotta look that one up.
The
again.
jet dragon.
Valstrax. Oh, this guy, the one that just randomly pops up in the middle of your fights with no warning.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes,
that guy would be
Valstrax.
really cool, actually.
Dude, he breathes fire into his wings and it comes out as jets. He's the coolest freaking thing in the game.
But would he make a
He's
good
so-
pet?
No, but he's cool and he's fast.
He is cool and he is fast, but he'd be a terrible pet.
I
Going
think
for
for
dragons
the
who are
heart of
fast,
it,
Valstrax.
I think you need to stick with Ditto.
I'm sticking with Ditto. Because he could become Valstrax from Monster Hunter.
Yeah, I wanna hear more about Ditto here. What do you think makes him a good pet?
I'm just gonna be completely honest. It's because I thought I could be any pet, and I was like, "That's kind of cool." I
It
didn't
is
think
pretty
much
cool.
more about it. This is probably the one I thought the least about.
You know, I think having a pet that can be any pet is kind of cool.
That is pretty cool.
But not as cool as a dragon.
I was trying to think, what is a pet that can grant wishes?
Is there a pet that can grant wishes?
Fictional
think-
creature that can.
Arceus, maybe?
You just have the god of Pokemon as your as your pet. I
technically.
mean, that is Pokemon, I guess.
I mean, you basically
Creatures.
fight God
Yeah.
every single franchise in some way.
Yeah, you fight 4 guys and then you fight a god.
Yeah, you fight 4
Um,
guys and then you fight God. It's like the animated show where the Nurse Joy is like, "Oh boy, Pikachu, you're so hurt. What'd you get into this time?" And Ash just
Oh,
goes,
he-
"Oh, we fought Ho-Oh.
Like, oh, you
Huh?
fought the sun god.
We fought the god of the sun." What?
And he didn't faint, which means he probably won or survived the
won.
fight.
Yeah.
That dang old electric rat.
An electric rat versus the sun god. Who are you placing your bets on?
Oh yeah, electric rat.
Every time it's Ash Ketchum.
Okay. Well, I'll let you do your closing statements now. So Nathan, you go first.
I came in here with a throwaway answer that I thought was silly. Liam came out here with an actual answer. I think this is a well thought through match. I think Valstrax is faster than Toothless, but that wasn't the question.
You know, Valstrax might be faster than Toothless, but Hiccup could still take him. Personally.
Hiccup could still take Ditto.
Hiccup, strongest character. We're going back. Hiccup is the strongest character in all of media.
Put Hiccup in Monster Hunter, that would be a heck of a time.
Oh my gosh, can you imagine?
It would
Anyways,
just become Monster Hunter stories.
Yeah, closing statement. How to Train Your Dragons were the coolest, and they would make for fantastic pets. The
Such a
movies
fun.
and TV show demonstrate that more times than I could ever explain. You don't need my word for it. Just go watch any of those pieces of media. They are awesome.
They're all good, and surprisingly enough, so is a live action remake. That's
Right.
it's the only one on Earth that's good.
Yeah.
Okay. So for the thing these two people really came for, the thing that they really want to fight,
This is
Speaking
gonna
of
get
so we're
dragons,
going to
dicey.
let them do it. So there's an amazing game that came out into 2000 teens, which in my opinion is the best game in between those 10 years. Each like 10 years there's a certain like game that just highlights everything, and I think this game highlights, in between 2010 and 2019. So the question is, Stormcloaks or Empire? And this is dealing with the Civil War that happened in Elder Scrolls Skyrim. So, Nathan, you get the first opening statement.
Ooh, I would actually like to cede the first time to Liam.
Okay. Well,
Because I feel
Liam,
like anything
you get
that
to
on
go.
my position will be a counterpoint to the Stormcloak position.
Hey, you
This
have
is
that right.
a
Go for it,
very
Liam.
Good point. All right, I'm coming out the gates swinging here. First
All right.
things first, I am 100% on the side of the Stormcloaks. And I want to preface this by saying neither side is in the right. So we have to choose which side we want to support despite that. And I believe that the Stormcloaks are the better option, not only because the Empire no longer has any right to rule over Skyrim after the death of the Septim bloodline, but they also are worse for Skyrim in the long run due to their inevitability of falling to the Thalmor. It is true that the Thalmor has their fingers in both sides of the war, but the Stormcloaks are in a much better position to actually handle the problem than the Empire. And that is my opening statement.
Okay, Nathan.
All right. My position is that of the Empire. The Empire from Cyrodiil, from the south. I believe, yes, neither side is truly in the right. But in this, we need to deal with practicalities. Though I may sympathize with the plight of Skyrim to be a free and independent nation, the timing in which they propose to do this, and the way of which they go about it, and even the more ideals of the Stormcloaks, I find to be both foolish and reprehensible. Beginning my point. The way that the usurper king, or I should say would-be king, Ulfric Stormcloak, Jarl of Windhelm, went about in his beginning of the conflict, that with the cold-blooded murder of High King Torrig, was how do I say? Well, I mean, at the very least, unsportsmanlike. For those uninitiated, High King Torg, the king of Skyrim, was challenged to single combat by Jarl of Windhelm, Ulfric Stormcloak, under the pretense that it would be a fair and honest fight. However, Ulfric Stormcloak came out with the Thuum, the dragon shouts, and killed him on the spot. This was not sporting. This was not part of the agreement, using an unfair advantage to then usurp the throne of Skyrim. Of course you're going to have a war. However, as well as the timing in which the Stormcloak Rebellion began, it was when the Empire was weakened, because not only are you impacting Skyrim, you're impacting the rest of the Empire, all the way from Hammerfell to elsewhere. It's like
okay, I'm going to stop you there. So that's your opening statement, and you can keep going after this.
Okay, I've got a lot to say.
Okay, go.
Ultimately, Stormcloak Rebellion is very selfish. It's, yes, the Empire is in a weakened state after the war. What was the war called? I don't remember. The war with the Thalmor, the Elven nation. Well, the Thalmor aren't the... You know what I mean.
Yes.
The signing of the White Gold Concordant, the actual peace treaty between the Empire and the Thalmor. The Empire is currently working its way into a way to oust themselves from that agreement and to be able to be fully independent of the Thalmor again. However, with the Stormcloak Rebellion, this now draws forces into a war that begins to deplete the Empire's resources, so they won't be able to resist the elves. This is a flawed approach when ultimately the Stormcloaks, who were loyal Imperial citizens and soldiers up until the rebellion, and the Empire should have been working together and then work out a way to secede from the Empire, which High King Torg was amenable to. However, killing him, starting this war out of nowhere, was a foolish approach, as well as the Stormcloak's more xenophobic tendencies are less than desirable for a healthy civilization.
Okay, I have a counter to that.
Okay.
Specifically. So, this all may be true, but it comes from a place of expecting Skyrim to owe the Empire something, which it does not. The Empire is notorious for taking land and forcing people into their empire against their wills. Look at the Khajiit and the Argonians, for example. Two races that lived all on their own in their own lands, but were forced into the Empire when they came knocking at their door. This same thing happened to Skyrim. However, Skyrim provided the Empire with an emperor who could control the dragons with his voice. But that emperor went across the seas and got himself either killed or is still over there for some reason. Who knows? We don't know.
And this would be Talos.
This would be Talos, yes. On top of that, that's also another good point. The Empire is tyrannical. They are an authoritarian regime who not only bow to the will of the Thalmor, but they also take that and use it to oppress the people of Skyrim. They have banned Talos worship. They have made it illegal to worship Talos within our own borders. What is that if not tyrannical? And it is all done according to the will of the Thalmor. You're telling me that you want me to believe the Empire is putting itself in a position to resist them when they are constantly listening to their demands and banning our for religious freedom? I don't think so. Not only that, it might be selfish that the Stormcloaks are trying this now, but do you really think, with all of the precedent that the Empire has set, that they will actually let Skyrim be free after the Thalmor are ousted? I don't think so. This needed to happen now. This needed to happen when the Empire was weak, because Skyrim is a smaller nation. It is a nation of basically rural farmers, essentially. It needed to happen when the Empire wasn't expecting it, otherwise it never would have succeeded.
Granted, the banning of the worship of Talos was wrong, and I agree with you on that point. I think all the influence of, and something I think we can both agree on, the influence of the Thalmor is a plague on both the Empire and Skyrim as a whole.
Oh yeah, the Thalmor suck.
However, no, absolutely, that's unequivocal. Whenever I do an Imperial playthrough, I still kill Thalmor agents.
Yeah, we get rid of the Thalmor.
Absolutely. And I think, like I was saying, with the aid of those who would become Stormcloaks, there would be more of a position to resist the Thalmor in the future. Things were in the works. I don't exactly remember, but I remember there were some quotes by General Tullius that was about, like, you're diverting resources to this war that could have been spent on resisting the Thalmor. But I don't exactly remember what that was. It's hard to find quotes from Skyrim online.
It
but
really is. You kind of got to play the game to find them.
There's so much in that game that's written. But the matter of the fact is, the way I don't disagree with the plight of the Stormcloaks. It's more of a matter of how they go about their war. And when it comes to you saying that the Empire is oppressive, bringing in the Khajiit and the Argonians, for the Argonians specifically, it's, do you want protection of the Empire, or do you want to continue to be slaughtered by Morrowind? Like, slaughtered and enslaved by the Dark Elves, who then
That's
eventually
not much
join
of
the
a
Empire
choice,
as
though, is it? It's,
the
do
Empire
you want our
provides
help?
economy.
You have to join us.
Yeah, the Empire provides economy, stability, peace, security to those around them. They are, in many respects, a net good for Tamriel. Despite, of course, there are some sacrifices of freedoms which are unfortunate that I don't like. I personally like individual liberties. Would it be better if Skyrim was independent? Probably. However, the people who would then take charge, the Stormcloak Rebellion, are malicious, genocidal. They're arrogant, xenophobic. They are.
Oh,
they're
whoa.
unfit.
Hang on, hold up.
Yeah, they're
xenophobic.
unfit. Are you going to say Skyrim belongs to the Nords?
Skyrim does not. It might belong to the Nords, but hang on.
It might belong to
This
the Nords.
point of xenophobic, I'd love to see some examples of this before you continue.
The Grey Quarter.
Okay, so the Grey Quarter specifically isn't being renovated by Ulfric Stormcloak, but you got to think about what's happening in Windhelm currently.
Yes.
Windhelm is in its own civil war, in a way. I'd like to point out the fact that the Dark Elves are still in Windhelm to begin with. They are people who came from outside of Windhelm because their home was destroyed, and Ulfric opened their walls for these people to enter in, right? That, first of all, doesn't seem very xenophobic. But then the Dark Elves come in and they start causing problems for Windhelm, starting a race war, essentially. And then, all of a sudden, now they've got problems with Argonians, too. They can't let Argonians in because Argonians and Dark Elves notoriously don't get along because Dark Elves had Argonian slaves. So most Argonians just kill Dark Elves on sight. So obviously, there's going to be some tension there. We can't allow these two races to coexist within the walls. And then there's the civil war happening within the walls that's preventing anything from actually getting done. I do agree that there may be some racist people within Stormcloak society, but I don't think Stormcloaks as a whole are actually xenophobic. More often than not, they're actually accepting of the other races, as evidenced by the Dark Elves being let into Windhelm.
I can give you that point. I can see that. I will say most of this comes from the individuals within the Stormcloak Rebellion, and less so Ulfric Stormcloak himself. I think his issues come down from, I believe he is... I don't like Ulfric very much. I think we can both agree Ulfric isn't... He's kind of an ass. He's not a very good man. I think he is ill fit to lead Skyrim. I think he is a good general. He's an excellent general. He's a good tactician. Able to lead an asymmetric war against the Empire and the Thalmor. That's impressive in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
But given the state of Windhelm, given the state of those of the cities around under his control, proves himself to be a very poor economic leader, a very poor political and social leader. I don't believe that the rebellion that which bears his name, I think, is at a disadvantage for allowing him to be the leader.
Well, personally, I think his economic leadership is a little bit lacking. I do think there is justification behind it, though.
Mhm.
There is a lot going on. He is leading a war on 3 fronts: one within his own walls, one against the Empire, and one against the Thalmor. This is a man who is constantly being berated at every opportunity. Do I think he is the most suitable leader? No, I don't. Is he the only leader we have? Absolutely. There is no other choice at this moment. And in order to actually have the luxury of choice, we're going to have to win the war first. I don't think a new leader can rise up and be a good leader for Skyrim economically, socially, or in warfare until Skyrim is free.
I think all this are excellent points. But you know where my loyalty really lies within Skyrim? My loyalty lies with Whiterun. And with Jarl Balgruuf. I love that guy.
Jarl Balgruuf is a very good man.
He's a chill guy.
Unfortunately,
he sides with the Empire.
He is on the other side of the war, so
I think, yeah. I wish I felt more angry right now. It's hard to have a really good debate.
It's a very sad topic, honestly.
It's a sad topic, but also it's a very something that really makes me like about this conversation that I really find interesting is just the depth of the narrative that old Bethesda is able to write.
Right, yeah.
Like really impressive that you're able to have these kind of deep like political discussions 15 years later and it still feel interesting and relevant.
Yeah, it
like
really
that really
feels, it feels relatable. That's the thing.
Yeah. And it's like, it's once again, sort of like, I think I made a joke about this when we were talking about this initially. Bethesda / Obsidian game with with Roman cosplayers and bear themed legionaries having an interesting nuanced political discussion. That's it's happened more than once in Bethesda games.
It's happened a few times. It's kind of funny.
Yeah,
but yeah,
that's another really interesting conversation for another day. Is New Vegas?
Yeah, I think honestly, as much as I'm getting heated, it's obviously not real heated, you know?
No, absolutely not. That's why,
yeah.
I mean, that's sort of like the premise of this whole discussion is having conversations about things that don't really matter at the end of the day.
Right. And I think my take and my stance on this is that both sides are definitely in the wrong. I do think there is a better point for Stormcloaks personally. But you know, there's so much contention in this world. And to kind of tie into the theme of this podcast as a whole, this is a world without God. Truly. Yes. This is a world that will never be perfect. So at the best thing we can do for this world is to pick the side that's going to do the most right. I don't think that's the Empire at the end of the day. I think that is the Stormcloaks. Despite all of the misconceptions of both sides, despite all of the things that we want to achieve, I do think the Stormcloaks are in a better position for Skyrim specifically. For the whole world, probably not. But, you know, sometimes you gotta pick and choose your battles.
I think my biggest issue with the idea of a post-war Skyrim with the Stormcloaks in charge is now that the Empire is weakened and the Stormcloaks are weakened, humanity is weakened as a whole. The Thalmor will now march into Skyrim and take over this war-weary nation who cannot protect itself because they're so depleted, their land is so destroyed by this war with themselves. Even Ulfric Stormcloak admits in Sovngarde that he was wrong to start the war.
Yeah. But we're already here, so now what do we do with it?
Exactly. And I think the best possible outcome would be for the war to not start in the first place. However, the war has started. And what do you do with that? And I think it's a very fascinating question that the game asks you to take. And I wish there was more nuance in the actual choices you can make in that game when it came to the outcome of the war.
I do
My
agree.
headcanon is best possible outcome, depending on how you play the Dragonborn, the titular main character of the game. I think there should be an option for the Dragonborn to ascend to Emperor as an actual member of the Dragonborn bloodline. Maybe not blood related to the Septums, but bearing the same blood as Tiber Septim, Talos himself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, who, in my not very imperial opinion, does deserve to be part of the Nine.
Yeah, he does.
I do have quite a few philosophical breaks with the Empire, but I do agree with the Stormcloaks on that point. And also that's an Elven thing. Elven supremacy didn't want a man ascending to godhood in part of their pantheon.
Yeah, talking about xenophobic. The Thalmor and the elves.
Oh no,
holy!
We can talk about them all day.
Yeah.
Those guys suck.
I love how everybody likes to talk about the Empire or the Stormcloaks being xenophobic, but we never talk about the Thalmor. Come on, guys.
Oh yeah.
What is going on?
Everyone hates those guys. Stormcloaks, Empire, Skyrim,
rightfully
Skyrim,
so,
Morrowind. Yeah, Morrowind. When Elder Scrolls 6 comes out, we're all 85 years old. I hope we're able to continue the conflict and go to war with the Thalmor.
I agree. I would love to go to war with the Thalmor. There is no greater cause at this point.
Absolutely. I want to see those guys fall. And I want to see the Empire freed. And I want to see them healthy again. Because my goodness. Seeing them in their peak, air quotes, with I'd say they're still in their decline in Oblivion.
Yeah, they're pretty in the dumps there.
You want to know who did great during the Oblivion Crisis? Black Marsh.
Yeah.
They were freaking nuts. They had
crazy.
Like the freaking Daedric Lords had to cut off the portals because the Argonians were doing too much damage to Oblivion itself.
Argonians, you don't want to mess with them, really.
They're terrifying.
They'll mess you up.
Scary lizard people born of trees. Their lore's so weird. Old Elder Scrolls lore, wild stuff.
Very wild stuff. I think it puts into context too a lot of this argument about Stormcloaks versus Empire is where all of this stuff came from, you know?
Yeah.
Because we've got, the Khajiit from
Elsewhere.
The name of Elsewhere. Yes, thank you.
It's a goofy name, but it
very
works.
Goofy name, but it comes from a culture of essentially wandering, explains a lot why the Khajiit just travel in bands and why they're not all that offended at the fact that they won't be let inside the cities.
No,
they just kind of roam. They go where they want to. And also Khajiit don't have to look like human Khajiit. They can also just be cats, which is another
big cats, which is goofy. That really threw me for a loop when I played that one mod, the Journey to Elsewhere mod. Very good mod. Yep. Man, Skyrim's good. Skyrim's a good game.
Skyrim's a fantastic game. But yeah, the cultures of these other societies being intermingled with that of the Nords in Skyrim, it puts into perspective why people get so worked up about this, because there are a lot of really cool cultures and societies that we just don't get the entire story of in Skyrim.
Mm-hmm.
The Khajiit, the Argonians, the Dark Elves, the High Elves, the Orcs even. There's some orcs in Skyrim that have their own camps that they live in, like almost a tribalist society in a way.
Yeah,
we get to
honestly,
see very little of that.
Skyrim and Elder Scrolls are a masterclass in fantasy world building when it comes to more grounded fantasy world building. Because nothing that you see in Skyrim is ultimately hugely fantastical.
No,
it's more of you see a fantasy world in decline. It's very gritty in that way. Thank you for all tuning in to our Skyrim fan podcast.
Yeah, this is just gonna devolve
to the Kingdom Geeks
Elder
Scrolls to the Kingdom Geeks Elder Scrolls podcast.
Hey, I'm
so
okay
good.
with y'all giving a little bit of background for this. So
Oh yeah,
keep going.
I mean, it's just a thing we're genuinely passionate about, and now I want to run a campaign, a D&D campaign, or Pathfinder campaign in Tamriel. That'd be super cool.
I have thought about it so many times. I genuinely want to run a game in Tamriel just to get the feel of that realistically gritty world. That's
Did
the
you?
thing about Elder Scrolls is they manage that grittiness so well without making it feel oppressive, you know?
Yeah. And I think the sort of balance you have to walk, because like when you have something else that's kind of a gritty fantasy that's also from that same era, Dark Souls, very different feel, very gritty, but it's a different kind of gritty. It's like instead of here's people surviving in this world, it's no one's really living in this world. This world kind of sucks, and it's not worth saving.
Yeah.
Like that's sort of the plot of Dark Souls 1 is everything's bad and this world isn't worth saving. You should probably just let it die.
Yeah, it really isn't the best world. That's
personally, no. I'd say if we were gonna do and another one of these questions, if we ever did one, it's like, what is the worst world to live in fantasy wise? Dark Souls or either Dark Souls or 40k.
Oh gosh, don't even get me started on 40k.
We should do an episode on that.
Honestly, if we wanted to do an episode on 40k, I would be so down. I would
let's just do another one of these
about the pantheon of 40k.
Oh, it's insane. Yeah, it's what's the worst world to live in, Dark Souls or 40k?
Honestly, I think 40k might even be worse because their afterlife is ugh. But yeah, no.
Yeah, I forgot. I hadn't even thought about the afterlife in 40k.
I'm gonna reel us back to the Civil War now.
Okay. Yeah, Civil War.
Sorry, we're just like talking about stuff.
I know. I let y'all talk a little bit, but back to the Civil War.
I think we can add our closing statements here.
Yeah. You want to go first?
I'll let y'all pick.
Yeah, I'd say we've had a very excellent discussion on the philosophy of two very flawed political worldviews and two very flawed political factions in this very excellently written fantasy world. But I think the thing we need to note is Ulfric Stormcloak is a throne-stealing beehole, and he deserved everything he got.
I don't disagree with this point at all. I do think Ulfric Stormcloak is probably the worst that the Stormcloaks could have pulled out, and also the best at the same time. But
I mean, he was charismatic, that's for sure.
Oh yeah, charismatic for sure, until he took the throne and turned into a beehole, as you put it.
Eloquently put it.
So eloquently put it. But in terms of the plights of the Imperials and Stormcloaks, I find the Stormcloaks to be much more relatable, much more justifiable, and at the same time, probably the worst. There is no right or wrong in this situation, but with what
there's a lot of wrong, but there's no right.
Yeah, there's a lot of wrong. There's no right. With what we have been given, with the war already in our hands, I would almost 100% of the time choose to side with the Stormcloaks, just because I agree with their fight for their own freedom. And I think that's all.
Well, thank you guys for the conversations. I felt like they were great. And yeah, I don't know if you have anything that you really do, Liam, that you'd want to plug in, but now would be the time to plug it in.
Yeah, I don't do much. If you guys have me back on, I'll be here.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Get you on happy to have you on again.
The podcast as well.
We
should do an actual. We should do an actual full episode on Skyrim sometime.
We really should. I'd love to go in depth on the lore.
Get
of Skyrim.
You in on it. That'd be fun.
Just let me know anytime.
Hey, if y'all can point out the Kingdom of God in it, let's do it.
The devil is depicted as a dragon in Revelation, and you kill dragons in it.
The Oblivion Crisis. I mean,
oh no, I got no.
A direct
okay, here's the thing.
To the war
I have Oblivion already covered. We're doing Oblivion. If you want to come on for that, we can.
Oh, we haven't already recorded that. Oh, cool. Yeah.
No, we have not. So
neato.
We can plan that out. That may or may not already be out. So go look for it. But anyways, also don't forget in the comments, say who you thought won. It's not about winning, but, that's something fun that we want to add. And maybe you had a better answer. So put that in the comments as well and give us a like. Thank you guys for listening. Check out the normal podcast as well if you haven't. It's where we go more in depth about games, shows, and movies, and just what makes them great. And we believe at Kingdom Geeks, what makes them great is that they reflect the kingdom of God and gospel. We believe that every great story reflects it somehow. And also, if you want a little bit more, I stream on Twitch called Shaggy Batman, and you can get a little bit of insight on what we have planned. I stream mainly just to promote the podcast, Kingdom Geeks, and really do some of my work on there. So I just actually finished up playing Final Fantasy X on there, so that will be an episode eventually, and then future episodes I will do on there as well. So you get a little sneak peek of what we're going to record in the future. So anyways, thank you for listening, and y'all have a good one.
Bye-bye.
You can say bye too, Nathan.
Oh, bye. I was waiting for us to stop the recording.
Bye.
That was it.